10-point game with 2 seconds to go. Barnes will heave from half court. Got it off. Oh! Holy shit! And he hit it. Whoa! Scotty Barnes from half court. Who said his jump shot was broken? Come on, he easily got that off. Oh boy, I love when some of the people in chat fucking lose their mind about the first 5 minutes of an NBA basketball game. In 2021, no less, where points are easy to come by. Let's hit 50 likes on this post-game show, and the Grizzlies will chuck up a shot. It won't go, and that will do it. The Toronto Raptors storm back in Memphis and pull off the big comeback win. They were down by 14 in the first. They managed to turn it around and pull off the big win in the end, 126 to 113. The defense absolutely comes alive in the second half after allowing 71 in the first half. We love to see it. The Raptors are back to 9-10. And what was most important about this game is that it was a true test. It was a true test of the Toronto Raptors here today. I don't want to like put this game like a one game against the Grizzlies on too high of a pedestal, but it really did matter today. We saw us beat the Kings, was great. That's the Kings. We lost to the Warriors. It's the 14-2 Warriors. Best team in the NBA right now, along with the Suns. Can't get too upset about that loss. But this was a big test. This is a 9-8 Memphis Grizzlies team with similar aspirations to the Raptors and what they want to achieve this season. The Toronto Raptors probably looking at a lower playoff spot, as are the Memphis Grizzlies. And this was a test. And we went down 14 early in the first. We were down by 14 in the second as well. And at the end of the first half, the Raptors were down 71 to 59. It didn't look good. The defense was struggling. The interior defense was really poor. But it all fixed itself in the second half. I wouldn't say it fixed itself. The Raptors players did a great job of fixing it. I think a lot of that came down to Chris Boucher. I don't think he got any second half minutes. He was just a mess on the interior. We had to give him minutes because Khem Birch was not available tonight for the Toronto Raptors. And it was a scary thought going into this game without Khem Birch. But the Raptors rise above it in the end. And Precious Achiuwa, wow, Precious Achiuwa probably had his best game of his Raptors career, his early Raptors career. He went crazy in the third quarter, putting up 13 points in the quarter, including 3 for 3 shooting from three-point land, reminiscent of that famous Alex Len game against the New York Knicks on New Year's Eve, last year. So let's take a look at what went into this game, because the Raptors, they got out-rebounded heavily in the first half, and the free throw discrepancy was insane for most of the game. But in the end, the Raptors, great shooting from the field, 53% from three, 47% from three-point land. That was a lot down to Gary Trent Jr. and his ability to completely take over the fourth quarter. Grizzlies have a great game from the field. It slowed down in the second half, but the Raptors overpowered them in the end. We started forcing more turnovers, forcing 15. We were down bad in that category early on. The free throw discrepancy at one point was 26 to, I think it was like 13. But the Raptors come back. The rebounds were 26 to 11 in favor of the Grizzlies. We fixed a lot of the things that went wrong in the first half. So a lot of credit to Nick Nurse for fixing a lot of things that did go wrong. But it also was some individual performances that did carry us here. Every Raptors starter had at least 17 points. You love to see that. Precious Achiuwa had 13 in the third quarter alone. Scotty Barnes, 17 points, 8 for 14 shooting. I feel like he didn't get any points in the second half. But, you know, that somebody will have to fact check. Fred VanVleet, stellar, especially in the clutch. 23 points, 9 for 14 from the field. Unbelievable display. 7 assists, 6 rebounds. This guy needs to be an all-star. And Gary Trent Jr., the player of the night, he was pretty brutal through the first 3 quarters. But, wow, he had 9 points after 3 quarters. He was 3 for 9 from the field. He finishes with 26 points. 17 points in the fourth quarter for Gary Trent. That is just under half of the points that we had as a team. He was 4 for 7 for 3, 8 for 17 from the field, had some great defensive stops, as did Van Vliet. The bench did chip in moments. They helped us a lot, especially when Chris Boucher didn't play. Very pleased to tell you that what Yuta Watanabe getting minutes means that Chris Boucher no longer gets him, which is going to help this team out a lot. Yuta Watanabe looked shaky on offense, but did look great on defense because he just has that great defensive mind. The Raptors have struggled a lot defensively with their rotations this season, and what is going to help out this kind of how they've had a lot of mistakes on defense with the rotations. Yuta Watanabe is very understanding of the way Nick Nurse likes to run his defense. Some people have been calling for the Raptors to simplify their defense, and I gotta say I do kind of agree with that, but Yuta Watanabe looked good in that endeavor. So the Raptors, here we are, 9-10. And it was largely due to Gary Trent Jr.'s ability to close the game offensively. This is the style of player that this team was lacking last year, the start of the season, and maybe a couple seasons ago. That player who's going to close out the game in the clutch and free up a big shot for the team. He is going to will the ball into the basket, and he's going to create a shot on his own. Because a lot of the sets that were run were basically, I mean, they weren't really sets. We struggled to create a shot. It got late in the shot clock. We gave it to Gary, got out of the way, and he created a good look for himself, or he created a chance at the line for himself as a result of his ability to get to the rim. So Gary Trent, lots of ways he can hurt you. He's got the three ball, of course. He's got the mid-range game, adding in that interior game as well, getting a lot more shots in the interior, a lot more layups, which didn't really happen last year. Gary Trent's 180 in the offseason has been a very, very welcome sight for the team, for the Raptors. Chua, big bounce back game. I still think this team needs a center. The first half was evidence of that, but Chua stepped up big time in the third quarter, and we absolutely have to appreciate what he brought to the team. So the Raptors end off the West Coast road trip here. I believe we went 2-3 on that West Coast 5-game road trip. The road trip continues back in the East, though, against the Indiana Pacers on Friday night. That was another game the Raptors have to look like they can go out and win, which will bring them back to 500. But, you know, we got to go show up in that game. Let's appreciate this one for sure. Big comeback from the Raptors, who, again, were down by 14 on a couple of occasions. It could have gotten away from us, but we cleaned it up big time. Big time in the second half. The defense, the biggest thing. After allowing 71 in the first half, we only allowed 42 in the second half, and that is why we had the ability to even go out and win this game. Shout out the bench for playing the solid defense. Shout out the starters playing defense. Achua was much better on defense as well. And there's not much else to say. Great win. It was a great measure of what this team can achieve this season, and they rose up to the occasion. They got the job done. It was ugly at times, but we're going to take that win. We're going to take that second half performance, and we are going to move on into Friday's game and hope to get back to 500. Thank you for watching this post-game show. We do a post-game show for every single Raptors game. If you want to see more of them, you can subscribe to this channel, and if you want to watch them live, I'm live on Twitch doing this as I'm speaking. Twitch.tv/AmateurSports. Let's hit 50 likes on this post-game show. Support the channel, support Amateur, the brand, and support the main channel, Amateur Sports. We'll see you again next time for another post-game show. Boom!